Okay students, so now under supply analysis we are moving to the next topic, that is assumption of the law. Okay, so what is the assumption? The law of supply is based on following assumptions. Okay, so first is constant cost of production. It is assumed that there is no change in the cost of production. A change in the cost of production will affect the profits of the seller, therefore less quantity will be supplied at the same time. Okay, so these are just assumption. This is will not actually happen in real life. Okay, that's why they are known as assumption. Constant cost of production, which will never happen. Okay, so it's saying that there will be the no change in the cost of production, and therefore it will if it changes, then it will affect the profits of the seller, therefore less quantity will be supplied at same price. So in reality it's not the real thing. Okay, then the constant technique of production, so that is also not possible. It is also assumed that technique of production does not change. Improved technique may lead to increase in production. This in turn may lead to increase in the supply at the same time. Okay, no changes in weather condition. It's assumed that there is no change in weather. Natural calamities like flood, earthquakes may decrease the supply. So this will also never happen. Weather conditions keeps on changing. There can be floods, earthquakes, okay, droughts in some places. Okay, no change in government policy. It is also assumed that government policies like taxation, trade, etc. remains unchanged. Government policies keep on changing, and again, if there is no stable government, if the government keeps on changing, okay, the policies may also change as the new government will change the policy. No change in transport cost. Once the fuel cost increases, the transport cost also increases, so transport cost will not remain same. It is assumed that there is no change in the condition of transport facility and transport cost. For example, better transport facility increases supply at the same price. Prices of other goods remain constant. So what is other goods? It can be like complementary goods. Okay, complementary goods, or the prices of other goods are assumed to remain constant. If they change, the law of supply may not hold true, because producer may transfer resources to other products. No future expectations. The law assumes that the seller do not expect future changes in price. There is always a change in price in future. Okay, so here is no future exception. So all these things, what are assumptions? All these things that will never happen, but we have to write it over here. Okay, so law of supply is explained with the help of following diagram and schedule. So what is this schedule? Supply schedule. So price of the commodity is from 10 to 50. Okay, and supply of the commodity in kgs, for 10 kgs it's 100, and it goes on increasing. Okay, so here we are not assuming that when the price rises the quantity will decrease. This is all the supplies. Okay, explain the direct relationship between the price and quantity of commodity. When price rises from 10 to 20 and from 20 to 30 and 40, the supply also increases from 100 to 200 and then to 500 respectively. It means that when prices rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. Thus there is a direct relation between price and quantity supplied, which is shown in the below figure. Okay, so remember students that in the previous chapters what all we have learned is about the demand, and it was like when the price increases the demand decreases, but in supply that's not the case. Supply is like the supplier is it's from the supplier's point of view. So as the supply or price increases, he will go on supplying, and it's not about the people who are purchasing, who are people who are supplying these products. Okay, so more like more price of the commodity, more the supply will be, so the more profit they will earn. Okay, so that is why there is a direct relationship between price and supply. As the price increases, the supply also increases. Okay, and that is why this curve goes from left to right. So they have plotted the points over here on x and y axis, where is the quantity supplied in kgs, and here the price is in rupees. Okay, so quantity is from 100 to 500 as it was on the schedule, and from 10 to 50 is the price. Okay, so you have to plot the points, and if you see, the curve will go from left to right. So what does this supply what does this curve indicate? It represents, okay, x-axis represents the quantity and y-axis represents the price. Supply curve is SS, slopes upward from left to right, which has a positive slope. It indicates a direct relationship between price and quantity supply. Okay, so what is the exceptions to the law of supply? Exceptions are like it can happen, but there are few exceptions which go against the law. That is why they are exceptions. Supply of labor. Labor supply is the total number of hours that workers to work at a given wage rate. Okay, so they work at a given rate. Supply of labor. It is represented graphically by supply curve. In case of labor, as the wage rate rises, the supply of the labor hours would increase. So supply curve slopes upward. Supply of labor, that is hour of works, fall with the future rise in wage rate, and supply curve of labor bends backward. This is because the worker would prefer leisure to work after receiving high amount of wages. Thus, after a certain point when wage rate increases, supply of labor tends to fall. It's explained in the help of the backward bending supply curve. Table number 4.5 and 4.4 and 5 explains the backward bending curve of the labor. So what here it mentions is like, see 4.4, labor supply schedule. Wage of the laborers per hour. So per hour they are getting 100, 200 and 300 rupees. Hours of work per day. So 5 hours, for 5 hours they are getting 100 rupees for 1 hour. So 5 into 100 is 500 rupees for 5 hours. For 7 hours they are getting 1400, and for 6 hours they are getting 300, that is 1800. Okay, so as the number of hours increases, the wage rate also increases, the wages increases, and they might take a leisure time also. So that is the assumption over here. Okay, so this is the curve drawn over here. So in this figure, what do you understand? Supply of hours, or the hours of work or supply of labor is shown on the x-axis, and per hour, wage rate per hour is shown on the y-axis. The curve SAS, this is a curve. How it looks like? See, there is a point over here, and it again gets deviated from here. The curve SAS represents the backward bending supply curve of labor. Initially, when the labor rate is 100 per hour, okay, initially when the labor rate is 100 per hour, the hours of work is 5, okay, and in 5 hours they are getting rupees 100, okay, per hour, that is 100 per hour. The hour of work is 5. The total wages received is 500, and wage rate rises from 100 to 200 hours and will rise from 5 hours to 7 hours. From 5 to 7 they are increasing the hours, number of hours they are working. From 5 it's going to 7, and the amount that they are getting for the 7 hours is 200 rupees. So which amounts to total of 1400. So the wage is increasing from 500 to 1400. Okay, so remember this. From 500, it was 500 for 5 hours, for 7 hours it's 1400. So it is increasing. Okay, at this point laborers enjoys the highest amount, that is 1400, and work for 7 hours. If wage rate rises from 200 to 300, total amount of wages may rise, but the laborers will prefer leisure time and denies to work for extra hours. Thus he is ready to work only for 6 hours. At point A, so here at point A, the supply curve bends backward, which means an exception to the law of supply. So this is just an exception. Okay, so you have to explain, you have to draw this diagram as well as explain if there is an exception to the law of supply. Okay, so that was it for, and now it's the second exception is agricultural goods. The law of supply does not apply to agricultural goods as they are produced in a specific season and the production depends on weather conditions. Okay, so it depends on the rains and everything. Okay, so that is a weather condition. Due to unfavorable changes in weather, if the agriculture production is low, the supply cannot be increased even at higher price. Okay, so remember this. So suppose after rainy season, if onions or rice, if the season was not favorable and their supply is very less, you cannot increase the supply because the season was not good, weather was not good, and no production or less production was done. You cannot increase the production. Okay, so currently also if you see the mango season is there, but the number of mangoes in the market is very less, the quality is not good. It cannot increase the production now because the season has gone due to rains and everything, unfavorable conditions. Even if the price is high, no one is going to buy or no one is going to supply because there is no mangoes in the market as of now. Okay, and the mangoes which are there, is of not good quality. Okay, so the urgent need for cash. If the seller is in urgent need for hard cash, he may sell his product at even the below the market price. Okay, so this is a tendency, human tendency. If they need money, if they're getting the price, if the original price is suppose 1,000, but currently he is in very urgent need of cash, and he is not getting that price of 1,000 anywhere, so he may sell his product at very less quantity, less price as well. Okay, perishable. So perishable are what? Vegetables and milk, eggs, which we have to consume within 2 to 3 days. Okay, once they are in the market. Perishable are like they get stale, okay, or spoiled very easily. In case of perishable good, the supplier would offer to sell more quantities at lower price to avoid losses. Example, vegetables and eggs, etc. Rare goods. The supply of rare goods cannot be increased or decreased according to its demand, even if price rise, supply remains unchanged. Example, rare paintings, old coins, antique goods. So antique goods, these are in few quantities. You cannot increase the supply even if you're ready to pay a higher price. Okay, so that was it for the exceptions to the law. Okay, now it's the variations in supply. Why the supply keeps on changing? When quantity supplied of a commodity varies due to the change in price, other factors remaining constant, it is known as variations in supply. Okay, so if the quantity supplied commodity varies due to change in its price, other factors remaining constant, the variation, that is a variation in supply. There are two types of variations in supply. One is expansion of supply. So we have seen this in the previous lectures also. Expansion of demand, we had expansion of demand over there. Okay, so here it's expansion of supply. Expansion of supply refers to the rise in the quantity supplied due to rise in the price of commodity, other factors remaining constant. Expansion in supply leads to an upward movement on the same supply curve due to a rise in price. It is shown in figure 4.6. okay, if you can see over here, quantity supplied, and this is the price. So quantity, this is P2 P1 and this is Q2 Q1. Okay, so S is the supply curve and MN is the extension of supply. If the supply increases due to the rise in price, other remaining constant, other factors. Okay, that like the government policy and everything is remaining constant. Okay, so this is the expansion curve. So we have to explain that as well. Here we have the explanation. In figure 4.3, in the previous figure, the quantity supplied is shown on x-axis and price on y-axis. Quantity supplied rises from OQ to OQ1, which with a rise in price from OP to OP1, resulting in an upward movement from M to N along the same supply curve SS. It is known as expansion of supply. For expansion, so you will have to give this diagram and then explain this as well. Okay, so what is next? The contraction of demand means decrease in the supply. Contraction of supply, decrease in supply. Contraction of supply refers to a fall in the quantity supplied due to fall in the price of a commodity, other factors remaining constant. In case of contraction of supply, there is a downward movement on the same supply curve. It is shown in figure 4.7. okay, it is contraction of supply is also due to the price fall. This is contraction of supply curve. Quantity supplied and price is over here in the y-axis. Okay, quantity supplied falls from OQ it falls to OQ2 with the fall in price from OP to OP2, resulting in downward movement. It moves downward from N to M. It moves from year to year on the same supply curve SS, and this is known as contraction of supply. Okay, so when you draw a diagram, you just cannot draw the diagram, you have to explain the diagram also. Okay, this was the contraction of supply. Now next one is changes in supply. Okay, when other factors change and price remain constant, it is known as changes in supply. There are two types of changes in supply. Increase in supply. Increase in supply refers to rise in a supply of a given commodity due to favorable changes such as fall in price of inputs, fall in tax rates, technology upgradation, etc., while price remain constant. So what are the changes? Everything changes, but price does not change, or price remains constant. Okay, the supply curve shifts to the right of the original supply curve in the figure 4.8. See, again x-axis we have the quantity, y we have the price. Okay, the quantity supplied is shown on x-axis and price on y. Supply rises from OQ. From OQ it rises to OQ, OQ2. Okay, it's not O, is 0 Q1 at the same price 0 OP. Okay, resulting in an upward shift of the original supply curve, because here the price is not changing, the other factors are changing, therefore the price is given only once, OP, 0 to P. Okay, it shifts from SS to S1, S1. It is known as increase in supply. This is increase in supply. Price is remaining constant, therefore we have plotted only P once over here. Okay, so we have to explain the formula, this increase in supply. So next is decrease in supply. Decrease in supply refers to fall in supply of a given commodity due to unfavorable changes in other factors, such as increase in the prices of inputs, increase in tax rate, outdated technology, strikes by worker, while price remains constant. Here also price is remaining constant, but there are other unfavorable changes like maybe the government policy, which is increase in tax price of the inputs, that is the raw materials, then the technology is not upgraded, there will be strikes by the workers. Okay, but the price remains constant. Supply curve shifts to the left of the original supply curve. It is shown in figure 4.9. So here quantity supplied, okay, is shown on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Supply falls from, so supply here falls from OQ2, 0 Q2 to 0 Q. Okay, 0 Q to 0 Q2 at the same price OP. So price is also given once over here because the price is not changing, other factors are changing, resulting in an upward shift. So here the dotted lines are up, is on the upward side of this slope. Okay, so OP results in an inward shift of the original price curve to the left from SS to S2, S2. It is known as decrease in supply. Okay, so this is supply curve. So if it goes up, it decrease, and if it comes down, it's increase. Okay, so remember that. So few things you should know. Supply. Supply is a microeconomic concept. Supply refers to quantity of a commodity that the seller is willing and able to offer for sale at a particular price during a certain period of time. So here they have given the definition. Okay, and what is aggregate? Aggregate means total supply. It is a macroeconomic concept. Okay, so when you talk about larger quantity, it will always be macro, MACRO, and when you are talking about individual or small quantity, it will be micro, MICRO. Okay, aggregate is the total. It's a macroeconomic concept. It refers to minimum amount of sales proceed which entrepreneurs expect to receive from sale of output at a given level of employment. Okay, concepts of cost and revenue. Cost concepts. When an entrepreneur undertakes an act of production, he has to use various inputs like raw materials, labor, capital, etc. He has to make payments for such inputs. Expenditure incurred on these inputs is known as the cost of production. Cost of production increases with an increase in need of output. There are three types of costs which are as follows. Okay, so we are learning about the cost and revenue now. First is the total cost, TC. Total cost is the total expenditure incurred by a firm on the factors of production required for production of goods and services. Total is the sum of total fixed cost and total variable at various levels of output. Okay. TC is so here we know TC is total cost, and TFC is total fixed cost, and TVC is total variable cost. You have to explain that as well. What is TC and TFC and TVC? Total fixed cost. Fixed costs are those expenses of production which are incurred on fixed factors such as land, machinery, etc. So this doesn't go on changing every time, because you have purchased or you have rented the shop on one land. It will, the rent may change, something may change, but the machinery cost and the land cost will not change. Okay, so that's the total fixed cost. Total variable cost, which keeps on changing. Variable are those expenses which are incurred on variable factors such as labor, raw material, power, fuel, etc. Variable, these are other than the fixed cost. Variable may keep on changing. Okay. Average cost. So next concept is the average cost. Average cost refers to cost of production per unit. Per unit means single product or single unit. It is calculated by dividing total by total quantity of production. So you will get the cost of a single commodity. Okay, AC is average cost is equal to total quantity, total cost divided by total quantity. For example, if the cost of production of 40 units of commodity is 800, then the average cost is TC divided by TQ, that is 800 divided by 40. So you will get 1 unit price. Okay, it's rupees 20 per unit. Okay, this is the basic mathematics they have done. Okay, but if you give an example, your answer will be bit like in brief. It's very short. Actually everything is very short, but if you give an example, it will look like that you know more about this concept. Okay, marginal cost is a net addition made to total cost by producing one more unit of output. So you have learned about the marginal diminishing the law of marginal diminishing law. Okay, so here marginal means the one additional unit produced. Okay, so marginal cost is equal to total cost of n unit. N is the additional unit that is produced. So you are going to produce only 100 units, but now you produce 120 units. So those 20 additional units are the marginal cost. For those, marginal cost is equal to total cost minus total cost of n minus 1. So what is MC over here? MC is the marginal cost of n is the nth unit, that is the extra unit produced. Okay, n is the number of units produced. Okay, and TC is the total cost of nth unit, and TC n minus 1 is the total cost of previous units. So what was the total cost? Suppose we have produced 20 units extra. So what is the cost of those 100? In 120 we were going to produce only 100. So what is the total cost of the previous 100 units? If previous cost of producing 4 units is 200 and total cost of producing 5 units is 250, then TC minus TC1. Okay, so 250 minus 200 is 50. So to produce that additional unit, that is the marginal cost, will be rupees 50. So here one example is given. Okay, as an homework you can do that. If a firm produces 600 units of commodity in a day and incurs a total cost of 30,000, calculate the average cost. So what is average cost? Actually average cost is total cost divided by, so you have to do 30,000, okay, divided by 600. Okay, it will be almost like 50 rupees of a single unit. So next is the revenue concern. The term revenue refers to the receipt obtained by a firm from the sale of certain quantities of commodity at given price in the market. The concept of revenue relates to total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. So there are also 3 types of revenues. So first is the total revenue, TR. Total revenue is the total sales proceed of a firm by selling a commodity at a given price. It is the total income of a firm. Total revenue is calculated as follows. So see, what is total revenue is equal to price into quantity. For example, if a firm sells 15 units at rupees 200 per unit, total revenue is calculated as P into Q, that is 200 into 15, that is 3000. Total revenue is actually the total amount that we receive after selling the commodity. Okay, average revenue is a per unit of output sold. This average means per, only single unit. It is obtained by dividing the total divided by number of units sold. So average is equal to total revenue divided by total quantity. Okay, so example, if the total revenue of 15 units is rupees 30,000, then the average revenue will be 3000 divided by 15 is equal to 200 rupees. Okay, so if you give this example, write this example, it will be better. It will explain the answer in detail, okay, in a better way. Marginal revenue is the net addition made to total revenue by selling an extra unit of the commodity. Okay, marginal revenue of n is equal to total revenue of n minus total revenue of n minus 1. MR is equal to marginal revenue of nth unit. TR is the total revenue of nth unit, and TR n minus 1 is the total revenue of previous unit, and n is the unit of number of units sold. Example, if the previous total revenue from the sale of 20 tables is 4,000 and from the sale of 21 tables is 4,200, marginal revenue will be like calculating as 4,200 minus 4,000. Okay, so additional table is sold at rupees 200. Find out if a firm sells 400 units of commodity at rupees 10, calculate the total revenue and average revenue. So what is total revenue? Total revenue is equal to price into quantity. So 400 into 10 is 4000. So total revenue here will be 4000 rupees. Okay. And average revenue is equal to total revenue. So total revenue is now 4000. So 4000 divided by total quantity is 400. So it will give the answer as 10 over here. So 10 is already, we know this. Okay. So it will be rupees 10. So this is how you have to calculate. So that is for this supply analysis. Now we have exercises where they have given some, complete the following sentences, where when supply curve is upward, it is known as positive or negative. Upward movement along the same price curve shows dash. Okay. A rightward shift in supply curve shows dash. So you complete this exercise. Other factors, if you have any doubts in this exercise, do let me know in the comment section. Okay. So next is like net addition made to the total revenue by selling an extra unit is what? Additional unit is always marginal. Okay. And it is selling average revenue. Complete the correlation. Expansion is price increase, contraction of supply is decrease in price decrease. Okay. Total revenue, average revenue, total cost, demand curve, change in supply, then variation in supplies. Okay. Give economic terms. Cost incurred on fixed cost, cost incurred on per unit. So what is cost you incurred on per unit of output? Net addition made to total cost of production. Okay. Net addition is the marginal. Okay. Marginal cost of production. Revenue per unit of output sold. Distinguish between stock and supply, expansion and increase, contraction and decrease, average revenue and average cost. Okay. And observe the following table and answer the questions. So price in quantity they have given for 100, they have given 200. So here this all things will not come, but they have just given it for practice. But the main questions over that are likely to come is like explain the concept of total cost and total revenue, and explain determinants of supply. What are the assumptions of the supply, or exceptions to the law of supply. Okay. You can make sure that you know all these concepts very well. These are the questions that are likely to come in the examination. Okay. So that was it for supply analysis. If you have any questions, any doubts, do write in the comment section. Okay. So let's meet in the next video. Till then, thank you. Bye.